Welcome to Gamesthetic. As you can see, I'm not Alex Light here today. I am Zach, and we are doing a podcast without Alex. So this is going to be a fun adventure. If you haven't seen one of these before, well, it's more or less a shit show. But with me to join in the shit show, I got John.
Is that one right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I'm running cameras today. This is going to be fun.
So,
Normally I just sit over there and I don't have to do any of this stuff, but today I have to.
Yes.
We're getting rid of Alex. A couple weeks, or what was it, like a month or so ago, you were gone for a couple episodes,
something like
now
that.
we're getting him gone.
Yeah. So this week and possibly next week, as far as I'm aware, still next week, it's just gonna be John and me. So enjoy this. If you like it, let us know. If you don't, let us know. We'll still probably do it regardless.
Yeah, we'll do it anyway.
But to start off, I guess I can go ahead and mention some of our sponsors and go ahead and get that out of the way, because we never hit them up anyways. So we got Agent Inc., of course. Got to check out our store there. We got tons of great jerseys on there. I mean, John wore his Gamesthetic a couple weeks ago and it looked good. And they feel great, too, if you haven't ever got anything. Shoot, just go check out Agent Inc. Definitely check us out. But if you don't, look at other stuff. And there's a lot of great stuff on there. Rogue, of course. Rogues, we always drinking Rogue around here. It's actually coming out with 2 new hydration flavors soon. Do you remember what they are, John?
I don't. I saw like had like an email or something that had it on there, and then I could not find it again.
Okay, cool. But yeah, look out for that because Rogue's coming out with 2 new hydration flavors. Then, of course, check out our Discord, check out our website, and follow all our channels, especially if you're watching now. I hope you're following. If not, and you just found us, go ahead and follow. It'll help. That's all the sponsors and whatnot, but anything interesting you catch this week, John?
Well, in case anyone was curious, the Hogwarts Legacy limited edition controller is still currently unavailable.
Okay.
For ordering more. I've been checking it about every 6 hours.
Okay.
Has it popped up?
It's still not available?
Still not available. It's a long shot at this point, but I'm looking.
I mean, if you're really feeling that bad, that Galaxy Xbox controller is still available.
Yeah, I've looked at it, but I don't know. I don't really have Xbox controllers.
I mean, that's fair.
I might have to get some, though.
I mean, I'm the only one who really sticks with Xbox at the moment. But, so talking points this week, we got Wild Hearts came out. I played Wanted Dead. John picked up Birth.
Yeah.
And did you play any more Hogwarts Legacy?
I thought about playing Hogwarts Legacy, and then I took a trip down memory lane.
All right, no Legacy, but something else instead. That's a thing. But yeah, no, I haven't really seen a whole lot this week either. Haven't really been messing with a whole lot besides Wild Hearts and Wanted Dead.
Yeah. Birth was I knew Birth was coming out this week, and it was kind of my main like thing I was looking forward to.
Yeah,
I knew it wasn't gonna be a long game, but I knew it was gonna be
something
interesting at least.
So, I remember seeing the trailers and you being the only one hyped about it. What the heck is actually the gameplay of this thing?
Okay, Birth it's a point and click, like, puzzle adventure game, kind of.
Okay.
Big theme around loneliness.
Cool.
Yeah, the game starts out and it's kind of like you're reading a journal. It's like moving to a new city and being by yourself is kind of lonely. Let's make a friend. And then it's like you're basically in this cityscape. It's a 2D point and click game, primarily puzzle game, and it's in this really, really beautiful hand drawn art style.
Okay.
But yeah, you kind of go through town solving puzzles and collecting bone pieces and organs, because everyone is kind of like skeletal creatures. Like everybody's like dead. It's like a dead civilization.
Okay.
Kind of, but not in like a horrific way. It's
just pretty much everyone's just naturally skeletons.
It's like everyone is skeletons. Like all the animals and that, they're like kind of skeletal creatures as well. So it's like birds where it's like they have some feathers, but then you see like their rib cages and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it's not drawn in any sort of like creepy way or anything. It's very
horrifically.
It's very much kind of this very beautiful art style.
Okay.
And yeah, you kind of go through the different shops and apartments and stuff, solving puzzles through every different one to collect bone pieces and organs to create your best friend.
So that's the main thing, is creating your best friend, or does it like continue? Do you like create a best friend and start making more?
I think it's kind of creating like it's the journey of creating your best friend and then not having to be alone. Uh, like not having to be alone anymore.
Okay.
It's kind of it's kind of thing there, but there's some other like little interesting things with it because you find coins along the way which
Hmm.
you can use in like payphones to unlock like helpful hints and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or some of it is just like you put it in there and you get this you'll get like kind of this cute little thing. Like one of them that I unlocked was just like this kind of like merry-go-round where when it's got a little thing that you click and drag in a circle on it and then it kind of spins around and everything. It's a very like for a game where everything like it's dead and everybody's kind of like these dead people and it's
Hmm.
this kind of theme of loneliness and that it's a very beautiful game.
I mean, that's good. On the terms of the puzzle side, so what kind of like puzzles is it?
Uh, some of it's some of it's fairly basic. Like to get into some locations, like you'll have to do a little like it'll be like a key code entrance, and you got to find the correct code from going to one of or like doing one of the other little things. So it's like you may go into a shop, and some of it is just as simple as like matching the icons together, or it'll be like uh, you'll have a starting symbol and an ending symbol, and then it's
Okay.
kind of like dominoes going across it, where you have to match them all correctly, but they only go one way.
Okay.
But
So there.
it's kind of it's like some of it's confusing on there. There's some misleading stuff as well.
Okay. I guess my confusion was because so there is actual like character movement where you're moving a character around in different places, or yay, nay.
Not really. It's kind of like the city backdrop is there, and
Hmm.
when you click to go there, the camera just kind of goes into it.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's
it's not actually like camera movement. It's like the character. It's like the people that are on screen, like
mhm.
that are there. Like when you go to click on them or something, they'll have a little movement animation to them or something, but it's nothing drastic. It's very
Okay.
much a kind of like the 2D art style game without a lot of movement to it.
Okay. That makes more sense because at first that's what I was thinking was just going into different spots with different puzzles. But then when you started saying that moving stuff, it's like, so wait, is there actual character models moving
No, it's
around?
kind of like you just click and drag around on the map left and right to kind of move around the city, and
Okay.
then it's like then the camera kind of pans back and forth. But yeah, most of the puzzles are. I mean, I found most of them to be fairly simplistic. I haven't. When I stopped playing before I came over here, I hadn't finished the game yet. I am confused as to what I'm supposed to do where I'm at because I don't know what I missed. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go back through it and like back through all the different buildings and then try to find the spot that I missed something.
That
'Cause I know what
sucks.
I'm looking for. I just don't know.
Weirdos.
I know what I'm looking for. I thought I did the thing to get it, but it didn't let me do anything.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, none of the puzzles that I've come up with are too complex because, like I said, it'll be like in one building, you'll like in one of the locations, you'll see kind of like a symbol chart, and then you click on a different area in it, and the symbol is there, so you have to go back and kind of match the symbols that equal that one together and kind
Gotcha.
of go about that. All of the information is there for the most part, or is fairly especially once you complete a few of them, you kind of understand what you're looking for.
Gotcha.
So it's not complicated for the most part, but it's still very enjoyable to go through.
I mean, that's nice. So, how many hours would you say you're into it, and how do you feel after that amount of time about it?
I've I'm like maybe an hour and a half into playing it,
Okay.
and I feel like I'm fairly close to the end of it. Game's $10, so
Okay.
it's one of those where it's like is $10 worth it to some people for a 2-hour experience? To me, I feel like it's worth it for me because I was already kind of looking forward to it. I didn't expect it to be any crazy long game or anything like
Yeah.
that. I kind of knew what it was. I just wanted to go through the experience of it, which has been very enjoyable for me.
Okay.
Because I don't typically play these kind of just straight like puzzle games that with kind of like this theme behind them and
Yeah.
that. But this one I was excited for because this is one that back in Summer Games Fest when most people were probably sitting like not the most excited about what came out from it. This is one of the games that I was like, man, I'm looking forward to actually getting my hands on that.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that on one of our mini episodes of stuff.
But yeah, for me, it's kind of just been a nice change of pace. Like I've said, I don't typically play these games, but it's been very enjoyable for me because it's easygoing. Like there's nothing stressful about it, and with the art style and kind of the background music and everything that goes along with it, it's a very, like I said, relaxing and fairly beautiful experience.
But you would definitely recommend it to other people?
I mean, if you don't mind spending $10 for 2 hours of your time, I'd say go for it.
Okay.
I mean, it's, I don't know if fun is the right word because it's not a lot of gameplay or anything to it. It's just kind of following the path that's kind of laid out to you.
It's very relaxing and unstressful,
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's very much an unstressful experience.
I mean, hey, we need some of those from time to time.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Okay. Well, on the other end, if we want to look at
Are we on the double cam? I don't know.
yeah, I switched
Okay. I thought I looked at it. I was like, I don't know if we are.
it. You can tell because the button will be slightly lit up compared to the others.
That's not the one I thought it was.
Okay.
It's not the one labeled that for me.
Alrighty then. Yeah, on my end of sort of the line of death and skeletal people, I've been playing Wild Hearts a bit.
Yeah, it's funny because you're into Wild Hearts now, and like last month was entirely Monster Hunter Rise for me.
Yes. In which, for anyone's comparison, Wild Hearts is a Monster Hunter type genre game done by Koei Tecmo and Will Megaforce in partnership with EA publishing it. So it is very much in the style of historic Japanese style and things like that. I mean, and one thing that I discovered, so this game came out on Thursday, which was on release date. So I completely missed today because I didn't think it came out till Friday, but it released on a Thursday of all days, which is completely unusual. But in turn of that, instead of buying it, I discovered that with Xbox Ultimate Game Pass, you have access to EA Play, which EA Play, on their most recent big titles that have come out, give you a 10-hour free trial.
So do you have to go through the EA Play, or can you go through Game Pass?
You can go. It's a weird way because I had to find it through Game Pass's sub menu.
Okay, because I was gonna say some of EA's stuff is confusing on Game Pass because you'll go to download it because it was like this for I think the Mass Effect Legendary Edition
Yes.
when I was gonna try to play that because you go to download it through Game Pass, but then it downloads EA Play and downloads it through the EA launcher.
Yeah. Yeah, at least on Xbox, it's fairly simple. I had to go through the Game Pass submenus, found their little thing saying, hey, EA Play allows 10-hour free trials for each game.
I was gonna say I didn't know that. I'll probably give Wild Hearts a go then.
Yeah.
'Cause
10 hours is a lengthy amount of time. Like, at this point in time, I still have 7 hours on my trial left.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was just from one session of playing and everything. But yeah, if you have Ultimate Game Pass and you were unsure about Wild Hearts, hey, you have a 10-hour free trial. Go check it out. And yeah, for at least Xbox is fairly easy. You find it through the Xbox Game Pass submenus, and then it just takes you to the store and a special copy of Wild Hearts pops up that you can download.
Okay. Yeah, I may have to check that out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was interested in Wild Hearts. It's just it wasn't one I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely buying that.
Yes. But overall, so far my experience with it, I'm still very early in the beginning. It's been very good. I enjoy the aesthetic of the game. It looks very good. I enjoy actually how the game starts. I'm always a sucker for because it has you set up your initial settings of subtitles, gameplay, and whatnot. And instead of going a title menu, it just rolls a cutscene and then just rolls you into the game.
Okay.
I always enjoy that. That's just a nice
I,
touch.
I will say I have become more of a fan of games. Like as soon as you launch it, it's like okay, menu time. So it's like get everything set up how you want to. As soon as you do that, bang, you're in the game. Well, it's like you know what you're here for.
Yeah. So yeah, immediately just rolls you into it and has you run around a little bit. You hunt down a small kimono is what the creatures are called.
Yeah, just based on having recently played Monster Hunter Rise, I would assume going into it immediately, it's like, okay, go kill some small stuff. And then when you get back from doing that, okay, go kill your first big thing.
Well, it's not even kill because the tutorial has you do, it has you actually chasing this small kimono and just learning all the controls. It does get you ambushed by some other kimonos which you have to kill that are aggressive. And eventually you catch up to this because you have the small ones can either be aggressive or passive.
Okay.
And when you get to it, you sneak up to it and an option pops up, pet or slay. And regardless of which one you do, you get items from it. So on the passive ones, if you sneak up on them, you can just pet them and they drop an item and disappear. Or you can just kill them and skin them for whatever things. Because you do get a little bit more for slaying it. But you get... actually, I don't know. I'd have to double check. Because I was thinking if by petting it, you get one of the like less common items that come out of it.
Okay.
Um,
Whereas I assume if you kill it, it's just kind of like the same thing as normal, where it just kind of rolls on the table when you
yeah.
when you do it. So it's like you could just get the basic material from it again.
Yeah. Then it has a little moment where you find this little box thing off of a corpse, and then you leave your campfire. You hear some music. You go find this like natured eyes, what looks like a person, and you find this little box. Pick it up. And walk back to your camp. Now there's some strange person with a mask at your camp, just playing a biwa. And then you sit down and have a whole talk of your sort of character's backstory. Then you customize your character's face and whatnot as they reveal, take off their mask and whatnot to eat. And yeah, then you get a stronger kimono shows up, and which I like this how they do it because in Monster Hunter the creatures they're just creatures, they're part of the world and whatnot.
Yeah.
The kimono in this, they are more or less have some sort of nature affinity in some form or fashion. And the bigger kimono, to stake their territory, the area they consider their territory starts turning into their nature.
Okay.
So like the first thing you fight is this ice wolf. It doesn't give you a name or anything. You go hunt it down and like it introduces itself because a wall more or less gets destroyed and just everything is now just frozen icicles forming up and everything. And as you go after it, you slowly get more and more of a blizzard is happening. And I do want to really say with this game, I do enjoy the nice little touches with the environment in it. Because as you're walking through the snowstorm towards the big old wolf, your character's clothing does start building up snow on it slowly and whatnot. And I just like those little touches like that in games. More or less, you fight it. It's a staged scene because I noticed during fighting it, I didn't have a health bar. I was like, so how do I know if I'm winning or not?
Yeah, it's just kind of like show up, do your best.
Yeah, the wolf more or less guts you and leaves you for dead. It runs away right before it kills you because it felt it stronger, and your character in his grogginess or her gets up and turns around, and there's a giant titan made of stone and earth. And all I can think is, do we get to fight one of those too?
Yeah.
Because the one thing I mentioned to John before we started is like, I enjoy the size disparity between your character and the kimono versus like something like Monster Hunter. Yes, there is size disparity, but it doesn't feel as daunting to me in comparison because I see them and I'm crushing them, but they constantly fall down and one. Versus the wolf in one of the third hunt you do, which is a nature boar, Like they get right up on me. I'm like, oh shit, I'm small.
Yeah, because you don't necessarily get that in Monster Hunter until you get into like the real late game
Yeah.
monster stuff and that, and then everything is like then you get into monsters that are like fucking you go up to it and you're like, okay, yeah, now that's what I call a monster.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you'll be fighting something, it's like, dude, I'm almost as big as this thing.
Mm-hmm. And more or less, it leaves you for dead. The ground crumbles, you fall in a hole, and this strange masked man shows up, and he's just like, he picks up the little box you find, and he does something with it, and you get encompassed with these green tentacles of energy, and now you have, I don't know if it actually addresses what the thing on your arm is. You get this new little tool that allows your character to summon kakuri, which are literally just spirit threads that you're using to create things. And it has a very hard emphasis on using these karakuri to create stuff and whatnot. And the hunts. After that, it goes right into the main game of it with the hunts and whatnot. Does the traditional thing of giving you hunts to slowly scale you up towards. And one nice thing after that initial opening on the very first hunt, you can immediately just have people join you.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
'cause usually you have to do like a series of a couple hunts and like Monster Hunter at least get through the basic few missions that it has.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now we'll let you play with people.
Yeah. No, as soon as you get to this first camp where you find an unconscious person, Kimono attacks and you chase after, and as you get to the field where it is, a tooltip immediately comes out. You can call for assistance if you want.
Yeah.
And you can have a group, 2 other people join you to hunt things down. Because the first thing you hunt is a rat, and then is a sap scourge, which I don't really know what it was supposed to be. Which I do like the whole nature aesthetic for all the creatures, because like each creature has a calm and enraged, which I think they had that in like Monster Hunter as well.
Yeah. A lot of the monsters will like actually do have enrages when they get like below a certain point, or some moments like they have like a hyper mode.
Yeah, and like there's some sort of tell where you can, but it's not always noticeable if you're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
In Wild Hearts, they make sure you know, because when they go range, they all sort of start getting like a slightly different glow to them, and they just straight up summon nature to fuck you up.
Okay.
Yeah, like the rat, it's like I think it's supposed to be, its thing is with like cherry blossoms. It's either orchard or cherry blossoms, because its whole tail thing, it suddenly becomes like cherry blossom tree. It summons it when it goes into rage to smack the shit out of you.
Huh. Man, they really just went for whatever they could come up with.
Pretty much.
For nature.
Yeah.
elements.
I mean, it's more or less like the first 3 creatures are more fauna, I should say,
Yeah.
than nature.
Yeah, I like how you started with like ice wolf, and then it's like cherry blossom tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like one of them is just like ice, blizzard, death, pretty flowers.
Pretty much. It introduces you to the fighting using the karakuri, because like the first thing you can create is boxes, and you can make a stack of 3. And more or less what it does is, of course, it helps you get to higher ledges, because you'll automatically quit climbing, and once you get top, you can hit whatever you jump on it to soar yourself up, and then you can do like a great dive attack on the creatures with whatever weapon.
I've only watched a couple videos on Wild Hearts, and it was before the game came out, so what they could show was limited.
Yeah.
And it's like some of it was like long, like people with their, I guess it's katana in this game instead of longsword. Yeah, just like making the boxes go, doing the jumping leaping attack, because of course it's always like no matter what kind of game it is, if you got a longsword or something like that, the diving attack is always like the most powerful one that you're gonna have, at least early on.
Yeah, and after you finish the first hunt, you get another one, which is a spring, which more or less just shoots you forward.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because I saw some of that too.
Yeah, and then from there you beat the first hunt, get your blacksmith, can now start making other weapons and whatnot. And one thing I'm not sure whether I'll like or not yet is just So pretty much every single weapon has the same overarching trees. So you can you can more or less path out which buffs and skills you want on whichever weapon you're using any way you want, and it's the same build for everyone.
Oh, wait. When you say that, are you talking just like damage types and things of that nature, or
Damage types and how you build it. So like if you want the first what's like called like savage buff on any of the weapons, it's always the same items for it, regardless of which weapon, same amount, same cost, everything like that. So like there's no like
so are the skills tied to the weapons then?
yes and no.
Okay, because I was gonna say because Monster Hunter, most of like the weapon is just your raw damage and whatever elemental type, and then all of your armor is what determines your skills that you have.
Yes. In this one, depending on how you want to, which way you want to build the tree of whatever weapon you're building, because it gives you a shit ton of weapon slots, because how they've done it is, so there's tons of branching offs for the weapons, and once you go down a certain branch, it is now stuck on that branch and cannot go backwards.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
if you're wanting like a specific weapon with a specific type for certain hunts, you're gonna have to actually build that weapon.
Yeah. So like when you say that, you mean like if the weapon tree is going this way and then it splits off in three, like in a Y.
Yes.
If you go down the left path, if you want to go down the right path, you have to remake that the entire way up
Correct.
to go down there. Okay. I'm
Correct.
just making sure I was following that correctly.
There is no backtracking in it, which
Oh, that would piss me off. I every time, because I'm like I'll just go down, like especially in Monster Hunter. It's
Yeah.
like you just make whatever, especially in low rank and early high rank. You
Yeah.
just kind of go through and you're like, I'm just gonna make, like, this is the best one that I can make right now. This is what I'm making.
Yeah.
And then you do a couple more hunts and you're like, okay, actually I want to go down that tree. So you just revert back a couple and go.
in some of them, so that I say there is no backtracking, but there is. I mean, so you more or less just goes down a tree, and the lines determines which way you go. As long as there's a line that of a type of weapon you haven't built down that tree, you can go backwards up a line if you haven't used it yet. So, like, say you have that Y and it goes down, and you go down that left, and you keep going down it, and then once you get down, it splits like sideways to a meeting point from like one of the other trees. You could go sideways and then go back up.
Okay. I think I followed you. I don't know what these trees look like, so
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to just picture this going
Yes.
down. So it's essentially just weapon trees say start two lines here. If one goes this way, one goes this way, they can still meet in the middle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And things like that. At least from what I've seen. It may change as I go further down. I don't know. I haven't been able to build a whole lot since I've only done 3 hunts.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, like with skills, both armors and weapons have skills. Armors are just set, as far as I can tell. You build a piece, they're stuck with whatever skills. Weapons, they can have inherited skills, which can carry over from other weapons whenever you transform it and remodel it. And then they have specific skills specifically just for that form of the weapon.
Okay. Monster Hunter Rise had something kind of similar
Did it?
called Ramp Up.
Yeah.
Like ramp up skills,
Mm-hmm.
which you had to do like certain, like a specific, you had to do like rampage quests to get tickets to do it.
Yeah.
But as you progress through like a tree, say, you could equip a rampage skill from like one of the earlier versions of it, and they would keep that one as it went up
Okay, yeah.
through it. If it was like, if say like the rarity 6 one didn't have like great rampage skills or something, you could equip like the rarity 4, and then when you made it to the 6, it would keep the same rampage skill that you had back then.
Gotcha. So yeah, more or less that.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the initial 5 weapons you got is of course the katana, no dachi, which is just a big old great sword.
Of course.
Yeah, a bow, hammer. Well, I think they call it actually a mallet in it. And then the fucking bladed umbrella, which is a wild weapon.
Yeah. In the few videos I did see, it was a katana user and an umbrella user.
Yeah. I got a nice screenshot from, because after I did the first 2 hunts, I did decide to jump in a session, and it was a katana user, and then me and the other person who joined their hunt were both using umbrellas.
Well, yeah, you got to use the weird one.
You gotta use the umbrella.
It's like you got to use. It's like you look at it. It's like, okay, what are people that are gonna play this game? Everybody kind of gravitates towards like the long sword or great sword or something like that, and then it's like you see umbrella, and it's like that's for the weird people.
And then there's at least 3 or 4 weapons that are initially locked that I've yet to see. I probably researched and found out what they were, but yeah.
Is it just like you can't unlock them until you hit a certain point for materials or something? Or
I'm
like
gonna
quest-wise?
I'm gonna assume quest-wise of some sort, because one of the other things that it has is the Karakuri tree of the things you can create.
Oh yeah, so you can't do that until certain points in the story.
Yes, because some Karakuri things will not become available to unlock until what it says is you get inspiration from certain hunts.
Okay.
So like, besides making your boxes and whatnot, the other thing is like the camps.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because from what I saw, it looked like for this game, as opposed to like having just the map that you can search anything on, you have to build structures in your camp.
Yes.
To show you stuff on the map or give you more information.
Yes, and which I sort of like how it is, because it makes you more strategic, because across the map there are these dragon roots which you interact with, and once you do it, you release the energy inside of it, which allows you the specific spirit Kakuri threads to build certain things. And you can, and from what I've got, I've already sort of screwed up my camps because I haven't found a way to unbuild things yet. It's best to go around and unlock all those and do what you can, because you can also upgrade them to get more energy and whatnot, because there's like 5 levels and you can do that for each one to get more energy.
Okay.
And then
I assume the energy determines what you can build at each location.
Correct. And all the energy is combined all together. So each camp doesn't have its own energy pool.
Oh, so you build everything at the initial camp and not throughout all the camps.
Correct. And the thing I found out is you can only fast travel or spawn at a point if you have a tent there.
Okay.
So need to be a little strategic where you want to put your tents. But I do sort of like it because it can be a thing of building certain things where you think is useful. Because like one of the things I like is I forget what it's called, but it's like a watchtower, and by interacting with it, it activates all the watchtowers and gives you a sensor beam or something of where all the hunt creatures are on the map.
So I kind of like that more so than... In a way, I like that thematically more than how Monster Hunter has it, where when you load into the map, it's like, okay, well, that's where the 3 of them are.
Yeah.
And it's like you actually have to interact with it, and it's like, yeah, that way.
Yeah. And then, of course, you got your campfire where you can interact with it to start going online, choose what you're going to hunt next, yada, yada, yada. Then there's the forge, so you can have a field forge, so if a blacksmith isn't around, you just can do whatever you need to.
You get a cool cutscene where cats cook a meal for you?
Nope.
Oh, nobody watches cutscene anyway.
But you do get which you find just on around on the map, is the Tsukumoji, I think they were called. It's literally like some ancient-looking Wall-E ball-esque thing that follows you around. Is this game's version of the cats?
Oh, so you get a little robot instead of a palico or something.
Yes, and these I don't know how useful the palicos are, but you can. Whenever you find one, you gain a cog, and with using the cogs, you can upgrade your main one, and the rest that you find, they just hang out at your camps on stuff, and they come whenever you build the pieces they're hanging out with. Because at least on the first map, there's 50 of them, and as I keep collecting them, more of them are just hanging out at the camp.
Okay. Because I know in Monster Hunter, like, you have the ones that go with you on your hunt.
Yeah.
And it's like they help you with, like, support and a little bit of damage here and there. But then it's like the other ones, you basically just get them and you send them out to go gather stuff for you while you're doing hunts.
Yeah.
So it's like you'd be like, okay, go to this zone, and then as you do like your next 5 or 6 hunts, they collect resources from you that you got to collect afterwards.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So far there may be something like that, but they're just hanging out at the camp. there's 4 trees to upgrade the thing. I can't remember what they are, but there's a attack, defense, a buff one, and then something else. One more or less, it gives you more health. One makes it more powerful, and it does a little bit of damage, and more likely to do some attack thing. Because like my Tsukumoji or Tsukumo thing, it saved me so many times. Because whenever I get knocked around, I just see a little message that's your Smoky has drawn his attention. I just see it over there with a bunch of boxes, just throwing it at the monster. And the monster, and like it actually does attract because the monster will turn around and start wailing on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or sometimes in Monster Hunter, I'm sitting there, I'm like, Cat, are you gonna fucking do something?
Yeah. No, the Tsukumo thing's always doing a thing and whatnot. I do say each one of the weapons do feel nice and different from like Monster Hunter and whatnot. The katana is your fairly simple, I'm going to slash you and be a weeb.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a long sword from any of these like monster hunting type games. It's like they all have it and they all play fairly similarly.
The Nodachi is fairly much like a great sword. You have your heavier attack, your quick attack, and then it's right trigger, because the right trigger is always a special thing for each one of them, pretty much. It does a charge. And if you charge it up, you do more damage.
Okay.
And then I haven't figured it out with the Nodachi. There's different stances in the combos. If you do a certain combo and then finish it with the right trigger to charge, there's different ones. One that charges quickly, but you can't move, but does a lot more damage. And then there's a mobility one where it charges, but you're free to move around and dodge and not get slapped around while you're trying to charge.
So when you say charge, is it like you're charging up and then you do a special attack with it? Or is it just charging up as you're like gaining like damage for your next few attacks?
It's charging up energy in the blade that the next time you swing, you punch the hell out of the monster.
Okay. I was going to say, that
So
almost sounds like the combination of what
Charge
almost
sword?
what makes Hammer and Greatsword different in Monster Hunter. Because Hammer has a charge feature where you can walk around while charging it and then unleash your attack with it. And Greatsword Monster Hunter and Greatsword, it's like you charge, try to get to level 3 and do your big slam attack with them.
Yeah, pretty much. And whereas this one, it just has the quicker, slower attacks. The tutorial describes it differently than what I am, because it actually does have some significance. I can't remember because I didn't use the Nodachi very well.
Basic descriptions here.
Yeah.
Not like this is how it's done.
Yeah. Then the hammer, I didn't really get the hammer, because it has its quick attack, it has its I'm a smash attack, and then it has its right trigger, which I'd never fully figured out how to use, which does a special heavier attack based on your combo if you hit it right whenever there's like a small shine at the end of your attacks.
Okay.
I never really figured out how to do it because I was bad at timing with the hammer. So yeah, that's a thing. The bow is interesting. The bow, more or less, it has its 2 modes. It has shooting it horizontally to put a bunch of arrows into the creature. Then it has its Y, which flips it to vertical. And then can also... No, that's not right. X switches stances. X switches between horizontal and vertical. Horizontal sticks arrows into the creature that just hang around there, and then the Y, whenever you charge it up and shoot it, and it does damage, and then explodes all the energy in the arrows.
Okay.
Yes. And then the Y input actually charges the bow, putting energy into it, and does different things with it. So if you're the horizontal, you charge it once, it shoots a set of arrows, because in the horizontal you shoot 3 arrows at once.
Yeah.
It does a initial shot, then it does like 3 rapid fire like homing shots. Then if you charge it twice, it does like 3 rounds of volleys in an area that you control where it's going.
Okay.
Whereas the vertical first charge just does a stronger charge, and a double charge does a whole stance thing. I'm sending a nuke at your face.
Yeah. So it's like you got shotgun mode and rocket mode.
Pretty much. And then one explodes the shotgun pellets that are inside them.
So I assume it's like you have your maneuverability mode, and then like you're stuck in this mode, kind of. Or it's like I assume when you're holding it like a normal
Vertical.
bow, it's probably you don't get as much maneuverability or something.
When you're just regularly shooting, you can actually get a fair amount of maneuverability. The only thing is just to get the more power out of it, you do have to do the charge shot of it. So you do lose that in maneuverability. And that's the main two modes of it. The bow I actually had quite a fun with. And then you have the umbrella. The umbrella has you going around like a fucking mad person. Because it is a ramping up weapon that you have to constantly be hitting and doing things to max out your damage.
Okay.
Because, like, above your health bar, you'll have a little more or less ramping gauge that has 3 sections. And as you get into further sections, you start doing a lot of damage consistently.
Okay.
So with the umbrella, you have to constantly be hitting the creature on it.
Yeah. So it's not like a big burst weapon. It's your constant flow of damage.
Yes, you're got to be real aggressive with the umbrella and timing, because its whole mechanic is using the different modes of the umbrella of its quick close quarter X attacks and then its weird Y attacks, which propels you in whichever direction you're going towards and doing damaging attacks. Then you have its right trigger or special ability, which is a parry, in which if you time it right and you block an attack, it gives you a shit ton of charge. So it's a very much a cross, just being super aggressive, being on it, and as you learning the attack patterns to be able to block and then continue your assault.
So like the umbrellas for like the insect glaive players.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Ones who just gotta be different.
I'm gonna say the attack patterns. I probably enjoy the umbrellas play more than insectoid blade.
I just assume like because you have the ability to like dash around with it and sounds like you can be a little more maneuverable and aggressive with it, which is similar to how insect glaive kind of is. Except you're probably gonna touch the ground more.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So yeah, so far I mean each weapon is very entertaining to use and whatnot. If I can ever figure out the hammer's right trigger special thing, so I can really do damage with it.
Yeah, I might try to since I could get that 10-hour demo. I might try to jump into it and
I mean, let me know.
give it a shot.
But that's my main thing about it. I just finished the 3rd hunt to get to the main like hub city after killing the giant boar that everyone's seen now.
Yeah.
And that thing just straight up summons roots to try and fuck your day up with. I mean, overall, I've enjoyed the 3 hours I've put into it. It's been very enjoyable. I mean, if you like Monster Hunter, you'll probably like this game. Saying probably because some people may just prefer Monster Hunter, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a monster catching, killing game.
Assume it's like in similar or like people have their feelings about it, kind of like they do with that Dauntless game.
Yeah,
because it's that same style of game, just kind of more multiplayer focused. Whereas this seems more of like the traditional style of game. So it's like if the general feel of it doesn't vibe with you, whereas Monster Hunter does, then they probably wouldn't be too into it. But very similar styles.
Yeah. The one other little touch that I appreciate in the game is just you can always tell where someone's fought in their hunting grounds if they've been hunting, because any of the karakuri they build just stays. It just hangs around unless you do another fight and a creature destroys it. It just stays there as monuments of where you fought or done things.
Oh, so as you go through like additional hunts and stuff, your shit's still there.
Yep.
Oh, so you're just littering.
Yep. So like all my weird springs and boxes I've set up to either jump up, and like one of the things that you learn in the boar fight is you have a moment where it's just like, all right, quickly build karakuri boxes, and you build 2 stacks of 3 right in front of each other. They turn into a giant gate to block a big attack. Because of mechanic for the boar fight, as it charges up, you quickly do that, so it runs in the gate and knocks itself unconscious for a moment. So I assume I'm going to find more of those as I progress.
Probably.
So yeah, it's a whole thing. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I enjoy that EA has this 10-hour trial thing, and I'll probably be more inclined to try new EA games as they come out, because I'll probably actually buy Wild Hearts now because of it.
Yeah, I'll actually probably play Wild Hearts now because it was one that I looked at. Like I said before, I looked at it. I was like, I mean, it looks like I would enjoy it. Not enough for me to spend 60, $70 on it, but
Yeah.
now I can see how much I would enjoy it.
Yeah, the 10-hour trial thing from EA Play is actually fantastic, and I doubt
Yeah.
many people even know it's a thing.
I was gonna say because especially with a game like that, 10 hours.
That's a lot of
It's
time.
like 10 hours. It doesn't. You may look at it and go, that doesn't sound like a long amount of time, but it's more than enough time, especially in one of those types of games,
Yes,
to tell
easily.
to tell if it's gonna be something you want to play.
Yeah. Because as I progress over to our other game, with that 10-hour trial, I would have never had to bought the game. The other game I played was Wanted Dead. I finished a playthrough of it in 8 hours, 56 minutes.
No, okay, no. Wanted Dead. Which one was this?
Wanted Dead was the hack and slash katana gunplay game being done by developers who had worked on like Ninja Gaiden and things like that.
Okay.
But here's my thing with Wanted Dead. I'm sort of unhappy about buying it.
So I just looked it up, and I saw the reviews for it.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh, it's this game. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on board now.
So I bet a lot of people were expecting a different game based on our trailers and whatnot, because the trailers did very good of showing off the hack and slashing and everything like that, and which the hack and slashing is not bad. Wish there was a little bit more to it. The gunplay is pretty subpar.
I was gonna say, did you get bait and switch from by the trailers?
I think a little, but again, the whole I will buy games for very dumb reasons.
Yeah.
And the reason why I even got interested, because the katana physics in it seemed very enjoyable and whatnot. I enjoy the katana play. It's what I wanted. I got the katana play. I enjoyed it. It's not as big into the katana physics as I thought it would be, but hey. But it is very much a hack and slash game, and it is very much a beat your head against the wall game.
Okay.
Yeah, because even on normal mode, because like there's only actually 6 levels, and pretty much there's only 6 levels.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's one of those games where you have limited resources. Enemies don't really drop shit besides ammo for your guns. Your guns don't get a whole lot of ammo in the first place. Enemies take a lot of hits. Enemies are gonna fuck your day up. And you only have checkpoints. And the checkpoints are, as each level goes on, pretty far apart. And each level ends with a boss fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand why you said it's beat your head against the wall game.
Yeah. For that last level 6, it took me a fucking hour, over an hour to beat that goddamn motherfucker on normal. That's the easiest difficulty.
Yeah, I could see that. For the what you're describing on normal gameplay, where it's like enemies mostly just drop you more ammo, you don't have a lot of ammo to begin with. It seems right that they're just like, normal is gonna be our easy mode, and then from there, hell.
Yeah, I mean, you have 3 companion AIs that are with you, in which, for the most part, they're just distractions for the enemies to go fight, so you can do your thing against the other enemies. There is actually one useful one.
Okay, yeah, you say companion AI. I'm like, you got one of 2 things here. You either have your best friends in the world, or you got some fucking idiots.
Yeah, there's only 2 that are very interests. Cortez, who's the mute black guy.
Okay.
He, like the entire thing, he does sign language throughout the entire game. His whole thing in the skill tree is a sleeper hold. Doesn't matter the enemy type, besides one heavy, he will sneak up on one and choke them the fuck out.
Okay.
And just straight up takes them out for you. I fucking love Cortez. He's great. He's your main partner through the 6th level, and where you have to deal with a bunch of ninja enemies, and he'll just sneak up behind one, choke the fuck out of it.
Okay.
Cortez is great. Then you have Hezrog, he's supposed to be your sniper, but at never any point is there a sniping opportunity besides like the opening of the 2nd level, and it's pointless.
I guess it'd be like you'd probably have to make use of that. Probably have to just bait people in and force it to happen almost.
Well, it does something because there's a line where your character, Stone, she'll be like, "Deal with that, Herzog," and his whole thing is he just will randomly headshot a random enemy
Okay.
and just drop them. So I mean, during the 6th level, I started hearing that a lot, but then again, I was also repeating the same sections like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And then you have Doc, which Doc just gives you a free res. If you fuck up and you go down, he just picks your ass up.
Okay.
In which you can get a bonus thing when he picks you up. You also get your adrenaline thing, which is a bullet time thing of where you just hit it and every enemy around you, you fill them full of bullets and you can just execute people in a streak.
Okay.
And then he also gives you a stim pack. Gives you back 1 stim pack to heal yourself with.
All right.
There was a main focus on the katana. I mean, there is gunplay, but mostly katana. Because by the end of the game, the last level, you're just riddling people for the bullets. If you're going to do a lot of gunplay, I suggest hitting up on the D-pad or whatever the PC's equivalent is, putting it on semi-auto, and just controlling your aim. You got to aim for the head and take them out quickly. Anything else, you're just going to be doing bullet sponges. Yeah, no, it was interesting. The gameplay was okay. Mostly the katana was interesting with its whole fight mechanic.
The fact that you like the game is focused around its combat, and your response to the combat is, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not the best sign.
I mean, the main thing with it towards the inner levels, you have to learn how to parry to really take effect of it.
Okay.
Because even with blocking, you have to get an upgrade in the skill tree to be able to block 2 attacks. Because initially you can block 1 and then they're just going to beat on your face.
Yeah.
And even with the upgrade, they block 2 and they're still going to beat on your face.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to parry, in which that's a whole timing mechanic of right before you get hit, parry, cool. Then also watching out for the red glowing lights to do a gun counter, which will pistol someone in the stomach and let you wail on them instead. Which you need to know that because the entire last boss fight in level 6 is solely katana. The boss is specifically built to dodge every single goddamn bullet you shoot. Even when you use your bullet time, he dodges every goddamn bullet. So if you haven't been learning katana at this point, you're screwed. Because it's sole parry, control, and then timing the gun counters. Because I beat into my head, that was the easiest boss fight ever. The hardest boss fight was the second boss. You know why? He's the only boss that does melee and gunplay. So he'll come and pummel you in the face and then shoot you. And you can do nothing about the bullets. You either try and dodge them and still get hit by some, or you just take the hits.
Yeah, just tank it. Just tank it. You'll be fine.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I had to do that fight 4 times.
I mean, it's not bad.
I mean, the first boss fight is literally a freaking spider tank. And you have to steal grenade launchers from the enemies to kill it.
I'm not gonna lie, this game sounds like a mess.
It's a fucking fever dream. Because I haven't even gotten into the story. The story is just... Don't even pay attention. It's fucking out there.
No, it's a game that has... It's a like, hack and slash game that has 6 levels. There's not enough time for a story.
And here's the thing with it. Like, it starts off... The game actually starts off with this whole historic thing, alternate timeline thing. China and Russia joined forces and took over a lot of Europe and yada, yada, yada. Your crew is called Zombie Squad, and they're a bunch of war criminals that were imprisoned and been brought out for this rehabilitation program where they're part of the police force, serving their sentence part of the police force in Hong Kong and everything. And it's funny. Things have been taken over by a Russia-Chinese alliance, but it's still got Western feel to it. Because it starts off them straight up in like a early era diner.
Okay.
With jukebox and the milkshake counter and whatnot and all that fun stuff. And you get introduced to Zombie Squad, which is your character Stone, Hetzog, which is the mouthy, drunk, alcoholic, perverted character, Doc, which is he's seen too much shit and he's done with this. He's done with life. And then Cortez, which is your glue of the team besides your character, who's mute, so he's just sign language everywhere. Because it starts you in like a middle of like a random TV police drama, and like you're getting towards the end of it, and you should know all this beginning stuff. Like it does no explanations for things; it just goes into it.
Nah, they're just. It's one of those where they're just like people. It's like we'll give something here, but that's not why they're here.
Yeah, it has so many random things. It's like. So the company that's funding your rehabilitation program, I forget what their name is. The very first level is their headquarters is being attacked. You go there, end it all, kill everyone in the way, and then you get surrounded by the special elite squad of the police force, which never tells you they're part of the elite force or they're part of the police force unless you go through some documents you find and read through it. All you know is there's some military group that surrounds you and it's just like, kicks your ass out, and your captain has to keep you from getting your literally getting shot to death. Captain's black, by the way, with a robotic arm, and he has some history with Stone, but it never explains what this history is. Yeah, then you go to the police station, and you can roam around there to go to the next mission. But randomly, when you go to the elevator, your character, she has a stumble spell and sees a flashback of her life beforehand, which at this point I want to note out, they animate this.
Why do they even bother at this point?
I don't know. But they animate this in like style of like Edge Runners.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's animated. It's just showing her in her sort of punk look at a house walking around, and then she gets drawn out of it. You carry on with your life. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
What? I'm confused.
Yes, I was confused. I'm going to be honest.
I haven't played this game, but I'm confused.
I played it. I still have no
made.
fucking clue what happened. You meet Gunsmith, which is your character's best friend, and she's the gun tech for the entire police station. She also has 12 cats that they allow to just freely roam the police station that are all hers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That happens. You and her go out to get food at a ramen place. Herzog shows up to join in and just be a dick and spout his ramen knowledge and sample each of the girls' ramen on their own. And it does this whole spiel. There's no context really other than they're just there hanging out about ramen. He's spouting stuff about ramen. They weren't even talking about anything involving the attack on that headquarters you just did.
Oh, that's not important anymore.
We
don't beat that level.
It finishes the cutscene, and now it has you eat ramen to a song as a rhythm minigame.
I don't know if they ever decided what game they were making.
They just threw in random minigames because they went, well, people like the minigames in Yakuza and play those. Let's just throw in minigames. It's not even a choice, by the way. It just straight up forces you into the minigame. So you either play it or fail it.
Yeah, at least like the minigames in Yakuza are optional.
Yeah. No, it straight up just makes you play it for the first time. And it's literally just a minigame that goes until either you beat the song or you lose. And it's just your character and Herzog eating ramen the entire time. If you finish a bowl, the robot comes up, feels more, and you keep eating, and it ups the difficulty a little.
What if you just set your controller down and fail the mini game? Do you just not get to eat?
Correct.
Fucking dumb.
Then it sends you back at the police station and run around, and then you finally go to the second mission.
Sure. Sure, why not at this point?
Which is a whole protest rebellion by synthetics. Because apparently the thing is there's synthetic beings which are being used for the shit jobs that no one wants to do, dealing with the toxic waste, garbage, yada, yada, yada. They have suddenly apparently rebelled now that the corporation that was the main big for them is the thing has gone down. They suddenly rebel. You go to a Central Park, you murder the shit out of synthetics. Then as you're trying to evac out, your bridge you're running across gets exploded, and now you're fight with last group of synthetics, and August, who you only know the name of because of the subtitle text gives you his name, looks down on you and fights you. And you fight him, you beat him, and it becomes a whole weird thing of we're people. We don't need to be forced. And it becomes a whole now Detroit become human thing of synthetics versus real people. And you don't get to murder him because he gets saved by this female synthetic who's his lover, I guess, named October. And the whole big surprise is like, it's female synthetic. Apparently there's no female synthetics. It goes back to the base. You interrogate her ass, and it's just like, I'm a real person too. I'm actually human. Am I the synthetic or you the synthetic? I was born in a body bag, and I have no problem going back in a body bag. Test her ass, see if she's human. She's not, but test her ass anyways. You have a whole other event, dream sequence of past where Stone is now at some random clinic and whatnot where she's in an appointment and whatnot, set up to meet some doctor, yada, yada, yada. That ends. This is a fever dream, man.
Is Stone a synthetic?
That's the question I had to ask myself when they threw it in there.
Hey, you're saying this, I'm like, one, I can't tell if you enjoyed this game or not at this point.
It was
Cause like you act like you're not excited about it, but then you're talking about it, and it's like this sounds like you just had a fucking blast.
It was a fucking fever dream the entire time. I was confused the entire time, frustrated by it. I'm gonna be honest. If Xbox didn't have its like, if you've played so many hours you can't return it, I would probably return this game. I'm gonna be honest. If you want to play this game and you want to pick it up, wait till it's on its eventual like $10, $20 sale, then by all means pick up this fever dream
How
and
much
experience.
is this game right now?
Fucking $70.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I think I had a better week than you.
Yeah, you did. Because after you finish the fucking park thing of killing all the synthetics and the whole interrogating October and whatnot, you then have a team meeting of where you go meet Gunsmith, and randomly, it doesn't even mention it in the cutscene, but you apparently gather everyone out to go sing fucking karaoke.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question real quick.
All right.
At what point did you realize this was an 8-hour game?
At no point did I realize it was an 8-hour game
Until the credits.
until the credits rolled. I just kept going through it, and I kept seeing how the story was progressing. I was like, well, it's not very long. I'm finishing it, so I might as well finish it for the podcast. So I run through the rest of the levels that increases more enemies. And I want to note, there's an enemy type called Ninja, which are giant pains in the ass. They're melee specific, and they charge your ass if you're alone. They always charge your ass regardless. And it's a whole katana thing where you can try and bullet sponge them down, which you can, and it's a pain in the ass, but you can. But you're probably going to have to fight a couple in katana range. The introduction to the ninja type, they throw the hardest version at you in the very first level.
Yeah.
To murder the fuck out of you.
Yeah, they gotta let you know what the game's about.
Because after that, you don't see that type again until level 6.
Yeah, that's good for you.
Yeah. Each of the bosses were sort of meh. First boss is a spider tank. Second boss is August. Third boss is a cloaked sniper knife bitch who you just fight on a rain-soaked rooftop.
Because there's nowhere else to fight.
Correct. What was 4? What was the fourth
Fuck
boss?
if I know. I don't even know if you played a game at all.
Fourth boss was Mr. Holiday.
Sounds like you just watched a weird TV show.
Yes. Fourth boss was Mr. Holiday, who's the second in command of the general dude whose name I can't remember. And the thing with him is he uses 2 pistols, but there's not one of them. There's 2.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. He blocks your way and locks the door as your crew runs through, and you're just like, oh, now you're going to fight Mr. Holiday. Stone turns around. There's a second one walking through another door.
I thought you said at this point in the game it was just humans versus synthetics. Why are you fighting a general?
Because the synthetics were only important for the second level, because it immediately goes back to you fighting random no-names and army guys in mask. Synthetics only mattered for the second level. Then in the 6th level, the 5th level is you escaping the fucking headquarters because this elite group's now attacking the headquarters for some reason, specifically for zombie group. I don't know. You get back and everyone's evacuating, and it's just like, we've been ordered to evacuate. Doesn't explain the evacuation. No one has ever fucking referenced the evacuation. Everyone's just fucking evacuating. The captain's gone because if you go to his office, he's fucked off to nowhere. You fight through the headquarters, get through the headquarters. You're bringing October along for some fucking reason because you've decided, yeah, let's just protect October.
Oh, you like October now.
She's a cunt. Oh, no. The 5th level is the headquarters. The 4th level is the Club Death Panther, where you go to meet some guy you arrested like 2 years ago who said the same line as October, and you go and interrogate him in front of his VIP area, and she's just like, I don't know who her is. She looks like a bad bitch who's my type, and he's like, and then it has a funny moment because you're there with Cortez, the guy who can't talk. He's holding a gun, waving it around, and no, this was 3rd level because yeah, this is you fight the stealth bitch. Okay, maybe there was 5 levels, not 6. He's gunning his goat around. The dude, Mustafa, gives you an answer and just says in subtitles, Cortez, I don't believe him. And you hear Stone go, I don't either. And Mustafa straight calls out, how the fuck do you know what he said?
That's just, they've been hanging out for a while.
She literally says telepathic link.
Yeah, they've been together for a while. They can read each other.
Yeah, no, this game was a fucking fever dream. And I want you to know, after I beat normal, it unlocks a difficulty called Japanese hard. It has normal, hard, and Japanese hard.
What the fuck do they think that means?
Here's the difference. In normal, you have enemies that are at the base level, and they actually sometimes drop stim packs. Hard, they take more damage, deal more damage, and they will drop a stim pack very rarely. I'll be honest, I started the first level on hard just to see what the difference was. I got more stim packs in that than I did in every other level. Then you have Japanese hard, where, because the thing, as you get damage, you get a second life bar of health you can get back if you execute somebody or if you go beat people with a katana. And Japanese hard, you no longer can get health back by beating people with a katana. And now they also take more damage and deal more damage compared to hard. And they don't drop any stim packs.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't understand this game at all.
All I'm saying is, I would not recommend it when it's dead. Unless it's like $10, then give yourself a wild ride. Because you're not gonna know what the fuck is happening. And I don't even care, it's spoiler. But once you beat the game, it rolls the credits. Then it plays one last animated scene of Stone's past. And it's her meeting some...
Why do we care about Stone's past at this point?
Well, she's in some interview with some white dude and whatnot, and he's just asking her a bunch of questions why she's there, and he's more or less you find out she has a son. He's ill. She's there to get enough money for his operation. She's 19 at the time. She apparently had him when he was 15. There is no other. The guy ran away, yada, yada, yada. And it has you introduce her name at the very beginning. And her name isn't Rebecca Stone. It's like Emella something or another. So she has a completely different name. And it goes through this whole interview thing, and it's just like, okay, yada, yada, yada. We'll take care of it. We'll do the operation. You'll wake up in a white-collar job at one of our facilities, and you won't remember this ever happened, and just take your pills. And then it's a reference to when you're interrogating October, she's mentioning, I'm human. I'm not the synthetic. We're all the same. They just keep making us remember, getting rid of us memories and injecting new ones. You don't know how many times you've died and what, and bullshit. Also, it reveals randomly that October is 100% human. So she's not a synthetic. She's a human. So there's not synthetics and humans. There's just humans.
Man, we need Wanted Dead 2.
Fuck, we don't.
Yeah, we do. We gotta get the conclusion to this story. Didn't ever conclude its own story.
I forget. After the whole thing with the credits roll and we get that animated scene, before it rolls credits, we get a scene with the captain and the general dude talking in the captain's office, and him going, they're apparently know each other and in league. And he's just like, You just need to leave my crew alone. You know I can't do that. She's not a threat. What do you think she knew if she knew the truth? Which version of the truth? There is no version of the truth. They shoot each other. Off screen, of course. You don't actually get to see their bodies. Then we have one other moment on a day previous, because that happens on November 11th. Or, I don't know. It was on the 11th. Then it have something on the 8th is Stone sitting in a fucking hotel room smoking, calling some orphanage, with some orphanage lady being a giant cunt saying, he's not your son. Yes, you make a lot of donations, but you just show up whenever. You're not his parent. You're not fit to be a parent. And the entire time she's having this conversation, goons are arriving outside her door ready to kick the door open and I guess murder the shit out of her. And she has a conversation with the kid and she's loading a gun, a pistol. And she's like, and he tells her what is happening with him. He's like, when are you going to visit? When I can. Okay. Hangs up. Wanted dead.
This is the most confusing.
So apparently she was part of the project, and I guess she is a synthetic, whatever that institute.
What's a synthetic?
Apparently synthetics are part of this.
Just a person they give drugs to and send out to kill everyone.
Yes. Apparently they just used them to, apparently found a way to erase people's memories and inject new memories into their fucking heads and use them however they want.
Dude, you pick some weird games.
I made a poor choice with this one, man. I'm just going to know at come a year's time when we're talking about what our best favorite games of the year, this is not going to be one of mine.
You don't think this is going to be in your top 5 games of the year?
If it is, we had a very shit list of games this year.
Oh man, just wait till later in the year when more games get announced and we get Wanted Dead 2.
If we get Wanted Dead 2, me as a consumer and a bunch of other people fucked up. There is no reason why this should make enough money to get a Wanted Dead 2. If it does, we fucked up.
A lot of times on this show, we usually just play big games we're excited for, or we take some chances on games every now and then. A lot of times we end up enjoying them. This is not one of those times.
No. And I did a full run through of this game too. I wanted you to know this.
It's like a lot of times, usually it's like one of us may be excited and we may all pick the game up. Like with Triangle Strategy, I was really excited for that.
Alex was really excited about
I
that.
ended up not playing it. You did all the playthroughs and really enjoyed it.
I had nothing for that game, and it was just like I was just bored. I was like, oh yeah, this came out. I guess I'll play it. And I put the most time into that.
It's like a lot of times, at least somebody enjoys it. I don't see how, based on this description, I don't see people, unless there's people out there who are just like, maybe they're like, this could be a great speedrun game.
That's all I can see. This is for a very niche audience who has no problem with learning the mechanics and beating their head about having to do a perfect run. I'll be honest, if you do that, more power to you. Yeah, do your thing.
That seems.
I see no reason to do it.
That seems to be the person this game was made for.
I want you to know there's an achievement in the game that's named after Stone's actual name for if you beat the game on all difficulties and says true ending. So I don't know if the ending will change if you beat it on all difficulties. I'm not finding out.
Hey, you might as well. You ain't getting your money back now. Go for it.
No.
Report next week.
I'm good. It took me 8 hours to beat normal, man. It's going to take me forever to beat Japanese hard.
What's wrong with...
They're not even in Japan. They're in China, goddammit.
What did we get from just like normal, hard, expert, hell? Like what's wrong with those names? Why is it gotta be Japanese hard when it's not even a game in Japan? They don't even know where they're from.
I'll be honest, I don't know what nationality any of the characters are. All I know is they were supposed war criminals, and now they're in China.
Oh man. Well, from Gamesthetic, you get a hearty not recommended for
Wanted Dead.
Wanted Dead.
I'm glad there was actually a lot of games, so I can get rid of this here in like a week with like a Ishin.
Yeah.
Or like a Dragon Ishin.
Yeah. I know. what was it, a week or so ago, me and Alex talked about Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
We said we'd report back in when we got further in the game. Not going to happen this week.
Okay.
I didn't play it anymore. Instead of doing that, I'm not going to talk about it a lot, or hardly at all. Really. I'll just mention. I ended up playing it. I've been playing RuneScape all week. I've been going down, taking a little trip down nostalgia lane.
I was about to say, I know each of us have a game that we'll just randomly jump back into, and I know yours is RuneScape.
Well, once every year or so, I jump into it, play it for a little while, have some fun. I don't know why now was the time. Well, I know why. I got a bunch of YouTube videos got recommended to me. I've been watching a lot of content on it, so I was like, yeah, let's go back and play it.
Okay.
Hogwarts Legacy is still on my list. I am still excited to play it. I intended to keep playing it this week, but also it's like what it was. I mean, half the week was like a shit week, and I didn't feel like sitting down and really stressing about playing the game and trying to sit down and enjoy something when I wasn't in the mood for it. So I was like, I'll just sit down and play a known quantity.
That's fair.
But yeah, so no update on Hogwarts Legacy this week. Maybe a little bit next week if I sit down and play it some more. And I know we'll for sure in a couple weeks when Alex comes back on, he'll be able to report in a much more informed update on it, because I think he was saying earlier when he has had time to play it, he's made sure to play it. So we'll get back to you on that one.
I mean, next week I'll be here, hopefully with like a Dragon Ishin and possibly Atomic Heart.
I might have a little bit on Wild Hearts if I play it, and are either of those two games going to be on Game Pass?
Atomic Heart.
I don't know what that is, but I might play it.
What's the best way to put it?
I keep seeing the name pop up. It's been popping up all week for me.
It's more or less a Bioshock-esque type game. First person, gun in one hand, ability in the other hand.
I mean, be a perfect game for me to try out, because I always wanted to try out Bioshock.
Yeah. Done in Russia. I assume Russian since it says Atomic Heart, and I've seen a lot of like sickles and hammer references in it. And it's not steampunk because they're not steam. They're like cybernetic. So cybernetic punk? Is that a thing?
It's called Cyberpunk.
No, because they're not. They're not cyber. They're synthetic.
I had to say it.
All right.
But yeah, no. Next week I'll try to put some time into Hogwarts Legacy.
All right.
I'll have the intention to.
If not, join me on Atomic Heart. It comes out on Monday.
I might. The names popped up everywhere for me, like I said, in the last week. I didn't click on any of it, but I've been seeing the name, so it's been stuck in my head.
I was about to say, if not, the only other thing, because in between games, whenever I've gotten tired of the crap that is Wanted Dead, I've been playing the Rocket Blade Point.
I've never played that. I know you talk about it all the time, as like as like one of your go-to games. Of course, now that Dark and Darker playtest is over, I mean, go-to game for me is always Rocket League.
I mean,
Played a fair amount of it today. It actually had some pretty good games.
now's not a bad time to get into Rocket. Just started a new season.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to grind out some of the Rocket Pass on Rocket League.
That's fair.
Because I didn't play as much because I got really into Monster Hunter Rise last month, and then after that it was Dark and Darker. So I should be like 100 more levels in the Rocket Pass,
All right.
or at least further in it. There's certain things that cosmetics I want to unlock in it. So
Gotcha.
gotta grind out a little bit on there, or just not necessarily grind towards it. I know I might get some of it just because I'm gonna passively play it.
Gotcha. Got anything else you played this week?
Nothing of note, really. It's
Alright.
like just some like random little things here and there.
All right. In that case, I think we'll hit the weekly wrap up. If you missed it this week, well, this is our weekly wrap up. So on PlayStation Plus games, we got some new stuff coming out. For the extra tier, we got Horizon Forbidden West, Quarry, Resident Evil 7, Outriders, Scarlet Nexus, Tekken 7, Borderlands 3, Ace Combat 7, The Forgotten City, which is one of Alex's recommended games, and more. And then for premium tier, we are getting now added Legend of Dragoon, Wild Arms 2, Harvest Moon Back to Nature, Destroy All Humans. I want you to know I have 3 out of 4 of those.
I was gonna say this is actually for a list of games getting added to the tiers. Actually, one of the better lists they've come out with for like putting games into it.
I mean, yeah, this is actually a very good list of games actually we're getting. I mean, several of them are big names that I know people may have missed, or like Horizon Forbidden West, Resident Evil 7, if you still haven't played it at this point, Borderlands 3. So, I mean, it's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm at this weird point where I can't recommend PlayStation Plus right now.
I mean, I can't either because, I mean, even with these games, still can't really, unless you just really want to play that game, there's no really reason to pay the extra month for those Plus and then Premier tier.
I don't even hardly recommend the base of PlayStation Plus
Really?
anymore. Because it's like I kept it going passively for years. And like a few months ago canceled it because I didn't see any benefit in it anymore.
That's fair. I mean,
Because honestly, they moved all the funds, like all the stuff that you would get from it to the higher tiers of it.
yeah.
Which, and even then, granted, it's like, yeah, some of the games they added this month are great, but their overall catalog is still kind of,
Meh.
yeah, it's still not that great.
I mean,
you gotta remember, like, remember when they announced it? They announced like there's gonna be like PSP games, and
yeah.
PS3 game, PS2 games, all of that, and it was shit all.
Yeah. I mean, finally getting some PS1 games like Legend of Dragoon, which people have been asking for, and then Wild Arms 2, which I don't know if people have been asking for it because that's a pretty niche RPG, in my opinion. I mean, it's a fun series. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy that series. I own most of it. But then still lack a PS2 because even from notes that we have, that Destroy All Humans version, it's the PS4 port version. It's not even the original PS2 version.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to. I mean, I understand why they did that because it's like they spent the money to remake the game.
Yeah.
So why it's like in their minds they're like, why would we put the older version of it in it? But at the same time, it's like, well, you're still kind of shooting yourself in the foot because your big advertisement was your classic games catalog. Classic game catalog kind of shit right now.
Yeah. And with it being the PS4 version, you would think it'd be at Plus, not Premium.
Yeah, there's like nothing at Plus.
Yeah.
It's like Plus. You still get your 2 games a month, but the 2 games a month was so. I mean, honestly, that's why I canceled it because I was like, there's not enough in the premium or the extra tiers to make me want to subscribe to it.
Yeah.
And the games that were in, like, I don't even know what the hell they call it, whatever their base tier is. The 2 games they were giving away was so lackluster for like 6 months that I was like, it's hardly worth me redeeming these games that I'm never going to play.
I mean, it's the thing, but on better news, I guess sort of better news, Tales of Symphonia Remastered flopped.
I don't know. You know, this is one of those where it's like, I was going to say I don't know why they remastered this game because people still love the original version of it, and nobody's complained about the original version. Mostly because Tales games do a very good job of holding up over time.
They do. I mean, I say flopped. I mean, the PS4 version of it runs fine. There hasn't been any real big issues. The main issue here is the Switch version.
Surprise, surprise.
It just runs awful. Tons of glitches, does not look good. I mean, yeah, if you really want to play Tales of Symphonia, GameCube's still your best bet, regardless of the price point.
It's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
It's this weird thing where like remastering some of these games, I think some of these games they don't necessarily need to remaster. They just need a port.
Exactly.
They need to port the game instead of trying to remaster it because every time they remaster some of these, especially if it's going on Switch,
Mm-hmm.
in their effort to upscale it, it makes it where for whatever reason it just isn't gonna run.
Yeah, I mean, because like what we're saying here, there was graphical glitches, removed animation, cutscenes going from world to battle, etc. Loading on just neutral screen takes longer than the original CG versions. Apparently, it just seems like a super low effort release.
That's Nintendo Switch and
Yeah,
GameCube.
I don't care.
Neutral screen.
That's what I call a title screen, man.
But yeah, no. Apparently, it's just the Switch version loads worse than the original version on GameCube did, which, like I said, I don't know. Like some people were excited for this, but then again, it's anything that's moving over to Switch, whether it be a remaster, a new game, or something at this point, it's got to have an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, no, because I mean, we've just mentioned it several times on this show, and then other people have definitely called it out. The Switch is just not cutting it.
No, it hadn't been cutting for a while.
I mean, if you really want to keep going with it, we really need to get something new out there. That's why even though Octopath Traveler 2, which is coming on Switch, I really want, I'm still slightly worried about it, even though it is in that 16, 13, 32-bit style.
Though, yeah, I feel like that should be fine though. Because did you have any problems with Triangle Strategy?
No, not really.
Because I feel like it would be fairly similar. Because I feel like that art style was kind of chosen for that game.
Yeah.
Because of how the success Octopath had.
I mean, more than likely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like games like that should still be able to hold up fine. But the problem is, not everybody wants to make that style game.
Not everyone really wants to play those style games anymore either, especially. Yeah, I'll stay by that statement. Not everyone really wants to play those styles of games anymore.
Yeah, I haven't played Octopath. I really want to go back and play it.
It's a fun game.
I want to go back and play it. I started all kinds of games because of Game Pass. I've started Chained Echoes. I don't know if Octopath is on Game Pass
anymore. It is.
Okay. Because I thought I saw something where that's like they were gonna take it away and then they didn't take it away.
At least last I checked last week, it was still on Game Pass.
Yeah, I may re-download it then because it's one of those games that like I've always heard is really good and I've downloaded it. I've just never hit the start button because I know it's involved.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's a fun game. It is I wouldn't say traditional style RPG because it does do its own little spin with it with the whole 8 heroes.
Eight characters,
Yes.
8 different stories.
Yeah. Well, in a recent Q&A with investors, Sega is planning to increase budget for future Sonic games after recent success of Sonic Frontiers. Alex is happy about that. I know he's happy about that.
Oh, it took them to. Well, I mean, it's one of those. It's like I guess who would have thought if you took the time and money and put it in and actually spent the development time on the game
It turns
and
out well.
tested it out, like well in advance, and gave it time to work, they could make a good game that would be successful.
Well, here's the thing. The developing team for Sonic Frontiers did well. The marketing team was very, what the hell were y'all doing? Because then we got that like very early build version when they started showing off Sonic Frontiers and people going, what is this?
It was a weird choice that they made, but honestly, kind of in its own weird way, it worked because then the game came out and everybody was still like, at that point, everybody was kind of.
I mean, everyone was iffy.
Everybody was more curious about it because everybody knew that everything that'd been shown wasn't what the game actually was.
Yeah, which was a very interesting choice, and it worked out in the end. But it's still just a thing of what was
would
marketing.
Would not be a recommended marketing tactic.
Per Insight in Gaming, 5 Lord of the Ring games will be released by 2024. 1 being Gollum, 2 being a rumored mobile game, 3 being an open world survival game.
The open world survival game is not a rumor as well because that was announced in Summer Game Fest last year because that was also one of the games I was excited about.
Well, that's why I didn't say rumored.
Well, it's typed rumored here.
No, well, I didn't say it.
I know. I was pointing it out for if Alex listens.
Okay. And then the other 2, we have no clue what they are. At least we didn't find anything looking into it. So
yeah, because I had seen that typed out. When I looked at it, I was like, I know that's not a rumor because it was very much like described as a open world survival game based on Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which I was excited about because also the games from Summer Game Fest last year they're starting to hit now.
Yes, they are.
And I had a ton of games I was excited about. I got to go back and check my list so I can start looking at them and double checking when everything's coming out.
Yeah, I'm in my current month of stuff coming out, so.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a lull. Well, I'm in a lull. I'm gonna have to fucking play along with you.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm in a lull.
So some Metacritic scores for games that have come out this month. Octopath Traveler 2 at an 86. Rise and Call of the Mountain, 79. Like a Dragon Ishin, 82. Wild Hearts, 80. Tales of Symphonia Remastered, 68. And Wanted Dead at 59, which it should be lower. I'm going to be honest. It's for a very unique audience, and you're not playing it for the story.
Honestly, I thought I was going to, with me and Forspoken, I thought that was going to be the low point of the year for us. Man,
I took that one easy.
You didn't take long to take that title away.
Oh, man. And then for anyone who missed it last week or haven't heard it yet, Like a Dragon Ishin actually has a combat demo out right now. So, I mean, actually, for anyone who didn't order the deluxe, you actually have access to Like a Dragon Ishin. But for everyone else, if you're still waiting for it, there's a combat demo out. Check it out.
I'm so glad games are doing demos again.
That is a weird thing.
I don't know where it came from,
Neither do I.
Everyone's doing it now.
I mean, it's really nice because especially because people are leaning away from that early access, just doing demos now, which is fantastic.
I think that's partially why is early access. It's like so many people have fucked up early access at this point, or they just leave a bad taste in people's mouth from the game changing from what it originally was at the beginning to what they ended up releasing.
Yeah.
So I think people have kind of been burned on it. So they're they're like, we're just, especially for single player games or single story experiences. I'd much rather see a demo for that than an early access.
Easily.
Whereas something like Dark and Darker is potentially supposed to go in early access in a few months from now. That going into an early access makes sense.
Yes.
Because it's they're constantly updating the game, testing things. Whereas Like a Dragon, make a fucking demo for it. People know what they're going to get. Let them just test it out beforehand, make sure they like it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's always good. Valheim Game Pass release window confirmed for Series X and S for March.
I thought that had happened.
It's already out on a version of Game Pass, but it's specifically the Xbox Series X and S version.
Okay. Because it's been on PC Game Pass for a while.
Yes, it's just the upped graphics.
I guess I just don't look at the Game Pass on my Xbox as much as I do on my PC.
I mean, probably not. There's no reason to since you mostly do PC.
It is nice to sit down, away from, be able to be in a different space and play sometimes.
That's fair. I mean, in a week or so, you will be.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
So here soon, Venom will be joining Midnight Suns on February 23rd for anyone who's looking to add on with the Deadpool DLC to add another combatant. Ubisoft confirms it intends to attend the revamped E3 Expo if it happens.
This is such a weird spot with that stuff.
I mean,
some people want to go. It's some people are like, yeah, of course we're going to E3. And everyone else is like, fuck no, we got our own shit.
E3 is definitely falling on hard times. Fall faster so we can take that E3 logo, please.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what E3 ends up being this year.
Yeah, no, it's going to be. It may end up going back to what it originally was and just being board and investor meetings.
Yeah, I mean, because what is it? Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo, or
they've already said they're out.
They're all not going. They're all doing their own thing, which makes sense, especially for Nintendo. They're just gonna, instead of sending the video to E3, they're just gonna post a video on their YouTube channel, and it's gonna do way better
easily.
Hell, this last Nintendo Direct that happened, I tuned into it for 2 minutes because I forgot it was happening, and there was over 1 million people watching it live.
And it was a fantastic Direct.
For the moment that I was on there, I went, holy shit, that's a lot of people.
Recent copyright text found on a new official Pokemon website points towards a new mystery dungeon game. Pokemon Day is 2/27, so possible announcement coming then. Also, a friendly reminder, as of March 27, 23, purchases for the eShop on Wii U and 3DS will be discontinued. So if you want to get something on there, you better get it now because you're running out of time. That would be everything for the wrap-up. You got anything else about anything?
I don't think I'm missing anything.
I mean, I got nothing else either.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, I'm going to hit the music and we're going to roll out of here. So, I guess I'm going to do my bit and Alex's.
Do your bit, then I'll do my bit, then we'll go back to you.
Like, comment, subscribe, rate, whatever your platform allows. It does help. If you've been watching this live, thank you very much for getting all the way through. We did run a little bit longer with just me ranting on about one and did, and thank you very much. But hit subscribe. Thank you.
I don't know which one of these goes.
Cedar. Hit Cedar. You could do it.
All right. He was still telling me what to do on cameras, even though I'm doing cameras this time. Yeah, do everything he said and more. If you made it to the end of this and managed to make it through that Wanted Dead rant, then thank you for that. And a little disorganized this week, but next week will probably be more of the same disorganized stuff we got going on right now.
Probably.
So if you want to see us do that again next week, then come check us out about 6 o'clock Central Time on Saturday again.
All right, cool.
I'm tired. Good. Back to you.
Well, along with that, please check out our sponsors, Agent Inc. Pick you up a jersey. They are fantastic.
They are really
Check
nice.
out Rogue Energy. Especially look out for those 2 new flavors coming up. And of course, we still have our website, sparky3.com. Go check that out for any of our personally made merch. And of course, check out the Discord and all our socials. Follow us there. Follow us Discord. Join the Discord. Join in. Maybe we'll make it active. Thank you very much. And we're going to head out.
Which one?
Intro.